Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here, and today we are talking October video game releases. We kicked off this series last month where we basically recapped some of the most noteworthy games that came out that month because of course often there are so many releases, sometimes you lose track of them, sometimes you're like, I'm gonna go back and play that, and you completely forget about it. You guys said you really enjoyed it and would find it helpful on a monthly basis, so we're back with the October releases. So if you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. Let me know what have you played this month, and again, if you guys are enjoying this series, make sure you stick around, make sure you subscribe, because we'll do this every month. So kicking it off, we have Far Cry 6. This of course comes to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Stadia, Luna. Basically, the reason I was interested in this one, outside of it just being Far Cry gameplay, is because Gustavo Fring. This game is set in the fictional Caribbean island of Yara, and it's ruled by El Presidente, Anton Castillo, who is of course Giancarlo Esposito, and he is raising his son Diego to follow in his rule. The player of course takes on the role of the guerrilla fighter Danny Rojas, attempting to topple the Castillo of his regime. Now of course, if you played Far Cry games before, you will know what to expect from the open world. Lots of things to do, lots of things to pursue. There's of course the new buddies for hire mechanic, where of course you get the cool animal companions, but honestly, this one, narratively speaking, I was just involved because of Gustavo Fring. Moving on from there to the next game, I've said this before, I am not a sports game guy, but FIFA 22 came out, and since this is me recapping the games of the month, I kinda have to mention it. I know nothing about football, the only sport I like is powerlifting, alright? So when it comes to football, I'm gonna say...
Right, Harry, did you see that ludicrous display last night?
What was Wenger thinking, sending Walcott on that early?
The thing about Arsenal is they always try and walk it in.
That is true.
That being said, this launched available on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Stadia and Switch, so if FIFA is your thing, then go kick some balls, there's a new one. However, next on the list we have Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. Again, I've said this before, I'm personally not too hot on this one, but rather interestingly, it did seem to review surprisingly well. I think the kind of main thing to note from this one is gameplay-wise, it doesn't do anything new, it's not really anything special. In fact, gameplay-wise, it's kind of a bit on the weaker side, but if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, from what I gather from the reviews, narratively speaking, it's actually a really good experience. It does a good job of sort of portraying those characters and capturing the vibe of Guardians. So if you're a fan of Guardians, maybe consider checking it out. It's one of those sort of action-based shooters. You have team members whom, of course, you can call in to help you out in battle. You, of course, just take on the role of Star-Lord. There's no switching between different people. And basically, shoot some enemies, use some abilities, and play out the Guardian story. However, moving on from there, one for the RTS fans, I was incredibly excited, incredibly happy with this one, and that was Age of Empires 4. I've said before that I really enjoy my RTSs, but it's a genre that you don't see that much these days. There have been a few indie offerings, but often they just don't quite scratch that same itch. Age of Empires 4 is fantastic. I love what they've done with it. It feels so good. It ticks so many of those RTS boxes. I've spent most of my time playing in multiplayer. Of course, they do have a fun, extensive campaign where they tell some of the big sort of noteworthy battles in history, and sort of in between that, they fill some of the gaps with real-time footage merged with gameplay assets. But one of the things I enjoy the most, of course, is between the different factions, they are more sort of asymmetrical. So while you learn fundamental mechanics, some of them do actually play very, very differently. You take something like the Romans versus the Mongols, they have completely different mechanics, which makes for some really interesting gameplay elements. So if you like your RTSs, definitely check this one out. Next up, of course, we have Back 4 Blood, coming to PlayStation, PC, and Xbox. This is the Left 4 Dead spiritual successor. It's a Paradise special. You guys know Paradise Central on the channel. He loves his zombie games. And you know what? I'm not really a person to play zombie games normally, but this is actually a load of fun. I played this with the guys, with the whole squad, and it was really, really good fun. It's the kind of sort of game that I want to sit down with the guys at the weekend and just sort of play through a session. I know some of the multiplayer stuff is maybe a little bit unbalanced, but even if you're just playing through the single player stuff as a squad, it's a lot of fun. You unlock cards as you go. There's sort of a deck builder mechanic to unlock different or like get different power-ups and different unique character classes. Basically, if you like Left 4 Dead, you'll enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. Next on the list, we have Riders Republic, of course, launched just this week. This is Extreme Sports. Basically, think of it like Extreme Sports and Forza Horizon, or the Forza Horizon of Steep, basically. TwoSixNine was a big fan of this one. He actually convinced us to check it out even more so, and it is a lot of fun. Again, I feel like this shines most in multiplayer, play with your friends. There's a lot of sort of fun, different events. You can, of course, go from BMXing to skiing, to wingsuits. There's even like a jetpack thing as well. There's a lot of fun events in this one, and especially if you go and sort of bomb down a hill on a bike and you switch to first person mode, yo, sometimes visually that looks incredible. So yeah, if you like your extreme sports, if you like things like that, and you kind of like the vibe that you get from Forza Horizon, but you just want that in a extreme sports setting, consider checking this out. Next up, for the Metroidvania fans, of course, we had Metroid Dread coming to Nintendo Switch. This one I mean, look, right? It's Metroid Dread. Do I need to say any more? I mean, okay, I probably do because it's in this video. It is not only going to tide us over until Metroid Prime 4, but it is not just a stopgap game, and it's not just a tide you over. This game plays incredibly well. It feels really smooth. The controls are, for the most part, fantastic. There are, of course, a lot of controls, so it can get a little bit hectic towards the end once you have all the abilities. But this is, you know, Metroidvania 101, right? They've done a great job of sort of allowing you to explore the world, unlock abilities, but also I feel like it's a great place if you've never played a Metroidvania before, because it also has a really intelligent way of kind of surreptitiously guiding you throughout the stage without actually telling you where to go. Meanwhile, some other Metroidvanias can be quite daunting and you can just actually get lost forever. That being said, playing as Samus, Samus is back, fantastic abilities, awesome boss fights, loads of cool elements, and it's also not a hugely long game, so you can complete it over a weekend. Honestly, this is probably one of my favourite games this year, so I highly recommend playing it. Next up, one for the anime fans, we of course have the Demon Slayer game. Now yes, this is of course CyberConnect 2, so of course if you guys like things like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, that's the kind of vibe. They are more, I kind of call them brawlers than fighting games because, you know, mechanically speaking, they're not going to be super deep. It's more about jumping in with your favourite characters and your friends, pulling off some ridiculous combos that might be a little bit broken and one-sided, and just having a lot of fun. It does of course have a story mode, so if you do want to play through as well and enjoy that, then you know, you can do so. In fact, you'll need to if you want to unlock all the characters. But as games go, again, if you enjoyed things like Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm, it's basically that with a Demon Slayer skin. Next on the list, we have Mario Party coming to Switch, again, launched just this week. We had a video on it. If you guys want to check it out, make sure you do so. We played through with the squad. It's a lot of fun. Basically, this time around, it's got remade boards from the N64 game. It's got 100 mini-games from previous entries, and it's supposed to be a lot of fun, but if you guys have played Mario Party games before, you'll know that it gets hella competitive. Nintendo games, when it comes to multiplayer, despite their family-friendly exterior, the sort of picture they paint, let me tell you, war is declared in Mario Party. You will probably lose friends over this game, but it's also a lot of fun. Following on from there, we then have Nickelodeon All-Star, which is basically the Nickelodeon Smash clone. Now, I'll be honest, when this first came out, kind of had high hopes just because it was just, you know, another Smash-style game that might have been interesting. It is worth noting that it features a load of Nickelodeon characters, obviously. It features SpongeBob, who I hate, I know, controversial, but anyway. Features Nigel Thornberry. Shout out to Ryla or Taylor, you guys might remember he was on the channel. We like to call him Nigel Thornberry, but I will say mechanically, it does leave a lot to be desired. It doesn't quite scratch the same itch as Smash Brothers, so it might be a sort of game that you could check out for fun for a bit, but I wouldn't expect you to sort of get into it as deeply as you might with Smash Brothers. Speaking of Smash Brothers, while it's not technically a release in and of itself, we did get the Sora DLC, the final fighter for Smash Brothers, so I kind of want to add that in. Sora is a fantastic character in Smash. I'm not really a Kingdom Hearts guy, honestly, but he plays really well. He's a nice sort of floaty character with some interesting aerial juggling things. He's basically just a monster in the air. He can just survive forever. He is really, really cool, and of course he rounds out the roster, and now we have an incredible amount of characters to choose from in Smash. We then have Voice of Cards, which comes to Switch, PlayStation and PC. This one, the writer is Yoko Taro, who of course you'll know from Nier Automata. The composer is Keiichi Okabe, also from the Nier series. And as a result of that, you can kind of expect a deep story and captivating soundtrack. This game is a role-playing game in which you control a party of characters, you navigate a fantasy world fulfilling quests. The entire world, from its character interactions to the world map to battles, is all represented using cards. The game uses a turn-based battle system triggered through random encounters and scripted boss fights. Crystals are generated one per turn and used to trigger special abilities, some of which also rely on dice rolls for their effectiveness. So if you want your JRPG fix, consider checking this out. Then we of course have N64 Online. If you guys want N64 games on your Nintendo Switch, then you can check it out. Yes, I know the pricing is maybe not that ideal for a lot of people, but if you want your N64 games, I mean, it's going to be your only option. But that being said, it is a chance to play Ocarina of Time on Switch, Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, loads of other games like that, and of course they do plan to extend that library, plus there are also Sega Mega Drive games as well. And then finally, to round out the list this month, we have Super Monkey Ball. You know what, right? This is one of those series that I am ashamed to say I haven't played it, which is crazy because I really like monkeys. Monkeys are basically my favourite animals, and mechanically speaking, this is kind of the game that I would also enjoy playing. So I really don't know why I haven't played this just yet. It is on my backlog. I do intend to play it. So either way, Super Monkey Ball, you kind of know what to expect from the gameplay. It's also developed by the same studio that bring you Yakuza, hence why you of course have the character from Yakuza inside one of the balls. But either way, Super Monkey Ball. So there you have it, that is pretty much it. That is a look at some of the games, some of the most noteworthy games that launched this month. Again, we can't always encapsulate everything, but in the event you want to recap as to what came out this month, that should keep you covered. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you guys want to see more of this on a monthly basis, do make sure to let me know and keep it locked for plenty more. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to catch more from us, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our latest uploads. And if you want somewhere to hang out, play games, or chat all things from games to anime, food to fitness, consider joining the HyperX Gaming Discord.